This guy is big. He played Harold in Harold and Kumar with me. That's where I got to know this guy. He's actually in an undisclosed location because he's working on something new that we can't talk about. Okay, that part's hush hush. But also, he was in Star Trek, the new Star Trek movies. He played Sulu, Captain Sulu. Yeah. Also, he's the guy that coined MILF. Intern Isiah, did you ever look up the date on that?
Does Isiah know what that means?
Yeah, but I don't want to repeat it.
Okay, go with my question.
It came out July 9th, 1999.
Okay, so before 1999, you never said MILF.
No, you're right. I'll give you that.
This guy, well, we talk about it. Let's just go to the interview. Please welcome to the show, John Cho.
Zoomin Who, take another look and tell me that.
All right, joining me right now via Zoom in New Zealand, the very, very talented, handsome Mr. John Cho. How are you?
Very good, my man. So glad to be here. So good to see you.
I was looking you up online before we started chatting, man. It's been a while since we talked because I think the last time I actually talked to you was at the rap party of Harold and Kumar, Escape Guantanamo Bay. God, that was forever ago. And I want to say thanks for being cool. You know, that was like one of the first films I'd ever done. And you and Cal were the nicest to me ever. And I had a blast the 2 days that I worked with you on that set, man.
Oh, dude, you're so funny. And we should shout out Missy Pyle as well.
Oh, yes, my sister wife.
But it's always fun. I always say, like, I need to get back in. I'm dying to do another comedy because the best thing about shooting comedies, and this is not new for you, but it is like a novelty for me, is just hanging out, laughing from the moment you get to work to the moment you leave. Yeah. And it's like, I honestly think it's like good for my health. Yeah. And you know, you two, you and Missy were just laugh machines. And I just remember being in such a great mood because all we were doing was laughing. We were laughing. Oh, the only time we couldn't laugh was in front of the camera when the cameras were on.
That was tough because you got me rolling on something. Do you remember this? Okay, so we had to smoke fake weed around a dinner table, right? So it's not real weed. It's a prop weed that they give you to smoke, you know. But the guy in charge of it, he's like, all right, guys, I don't know if you've ever smoked weed before, but what you're going to do today is this has no THC in it. It's going to smell like real weed. It might taste like real weed, but it will have no effect whatsoever. And we're like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. But maybe there was some sort of like flashback in my head because you and I started laughing our butts off. That scene in my house at the dinner table, in the background, there is a gigantic pear. And
I don't know why that's making me laugh already.
But for whatever reason, I kind of looked over at you one time and I said something like, hey, do you remember Tiny Elvis, how Rob Schneider used to do Tiny Elvis on SNL? Yeah. I go, hey, John, look at that pear, man. That thing is huge.
Why did that? Why? Jokes are weird that way, man.
Yes.
It's still killing me. I'm right there with you right now. I just time traveled.
Yeah. So that was a good 8 hours of our day, doing Tiny Elvis back and forth at each other. And then I think we pointed at other things on the set. And
that pear is
and then Missy was, huh?
That's a beautiful pear. That's a beautiful pear. That's a. I'm tiny. That pear is big. Oh God, that's
good call,
stuff.
Tiny E.
Tiny E, that's right.
Right, I was just like your backup guy. You would do it. I go, that's right, Tiny Elvis.
Oh God.
But I mean, that was such a blast doing that. I also want to bring something up because I love this, and I've been wanting to ask you this for a long time, and I don't know if it happened before or after Harold and Kumar, but you're the guy in American Pie that coined the word MILF.
Yeah.
Now, was that in the script or is that an improv?
That was in the script. That was definitely in the script. Had no idea. I had never heard of that term before. Yeah. And I was actually pretty shy about saying it. I was like, that's pretty vulgar. That's a mom.
Right. Right. I mean, did you have any idea that would turn into what it turned into, this weird subgenre of porn?
Zero idea. Yeah, well, as long as we're sharing audition stories, I mean, I'll tell you how I landed in that.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of my very first jobs. I was a kid. They and I got cast as in a non-speaking role.
Okay.
And I was in the choir that Chris Klein is in. He's in like a jazz choir, and I'm in the back. And I was just grateful for the work. Multiple days of work, John. Multiple days of work.
Were you already in the Screen Actors Guild, or was this getting?
I was already in the Screen Actors Guild. I had a membership. I had my membership card. Used it for discounts on frozen yogurt. That's about it. And so then we go for one of these table reads. You know how like they get the whole cast together and they read through the script at a big conference table to kick off production. And I was there, and there's a bunch of actors that couldn't make it. So the casting director said, can you read this one line? Can you read that one line? Can you read this? And so I did, and, you know, I did my best, and the director really liked me. And we shot, and at some point he goes, hey, do you want to do this other line? And it was the MILF line. And I was like, I looked at him. Okay. So I did it. And, but I just didn't know. I had done this other movie, and I thought it was, I happened to be out of the country when American Pie came out. I was shooting this other movie, and I had no idea how big it was. And I came back, and people were just, and I kind of forgotten about it. And people were just screaming MILF on the streets. It was, and it didn't even compute. It was very weird. It was a very early and strange taste of fame.
Yeah, it's got to be. And now, I mean, I've seen T-shirts. I mean, it's like that just took over.
It really did. You know what's weird? Well, you know what other thing is weird? At some point, a few years after that movie, it became okay. Women started referring to themselves as MILFs.
Right.
Like that was another level to me. I was like, I don't understand what's happening.
Oh yeah, you're 100% right. And at first it was a little offensive, and then they took ownership of it.
Right.
And now I've seen girls that have shirts on like that calling themselves MILFs. So
yeah, that's bizarre.
Great. That's just a cool thing to have like on your resume. You know, I know it's probably was weird at the time. I don't know how you feel about it, but I think it's cool.
It's cool. It's definitely it's definitely a part of culture, and it's cool. Every once in a while, you do something that's kind of in the fabric of culture. That's really exciting when something like that happens. Like that's why for me, Star Trek was so fun,
right?
Because Star Trek is just such a part already before we made that first one was already such a part of American culture. So I was like, this is cool.
Tell me a little bit about Star Trek and playing Sulu. What was that? Did you have to audition, or did they just ask for you?
Yeah, no, I auditioned. Yeah. I can't remember how many. I went in a few times, I think, and to be honest, I think there was some. I'm not Japanese, and the character is, and so I didn't know whether that would play a part. I never really got into it.
Yeah,
but it certainly was awesome. And George Takei, who played Sulu, I met with, and when I got the role, and he was beautiful to me and so generous, and I think it was important for him to publicly say this guy's cool.
Yeah.
And to get a thumbs up from him in the public really helped me out. and helped the film out, I think.
Yeah, well, you did a great job. I remember, seeing it in the big screen, thinking like, oh man, I'm sitting here, I'm like so happy for you, but I'm also in my brain, I'm laughing like, look how big he is on that screen up there, man. Like
Yeah,
I'm doing Tiny Elvis in my brain. Right? If you want to watch the whole version, the entire episode, click on this little square right here. Or if you just want to subscribe and watch them later, click on that little bubble right there. And thank you.